During hardships, the tears of pain I shed today will be the tears of joy I shed tomorrow. I'm Coach mjdtiger, certified life coach and mentor, and we are on this journey together to find peace, passion, and purpose by enduring hardships and not getting knocked down and staying there, but to rise and to be more than we were the moment before and to grow in the next moment. And we can do that by focusing on our self-love, self-respect, self-control, and to bravely and boldly embrace who we are unconditionally. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up. How are you feeling? How are you feeling in your mind? How are you feeling in your body? How are you feeling in your heart? How are you feeling in your soul? Taking a moment each day to think in silence and to address each of these areas is a daily healthy practice that will lead you to your passion and your purpose and to balance you out every single day. When we ask ourselves through mind, body, heart, and soul how we are feeling, we get the answers we need and we know we need to focus on. How are you feeling? Trust yourself. Trust that you have it within you to get through the next moment. Trust that whatever is beyond your control, whatever is beyond the reach and the scale of where your mind, your body, your heart, and your soul can endure in this moment, trust that what's beyond you doesn't matter. What's behind you doesn't matter. What matters is this moment. Trust that you are strong enough to endure the next moment, the next obstacle, the next test, the next mountain, the next volcano. Trust yourself that you are making the right decisions and that you will stand tall and bravely and boldly endure the consequences of those decisions. Trust yourself that you are more than what your limited beliefs are telling you. Trust yourself that you are capable of being in a loving, healthy, non-toxic relationship. Trust yourself that you are everything you know you were born to be. Trust yourself that you will go further than you ever imagined through discipline, self-love, and self-control. You are here now. Trust yourself. Wheat Horizons, Episode 6, Be You. Accountability is a form of peace that we can create for ourselves every day by owning up to who we really are inside. That is a very basic, very true and genuine way of looking at oneself. You looking at yourself, me looking at myself, all of us looking at ourselves through the lens of accountability. And that lens can be as crystal clear as you want it to be, or it could be blurred and scratched and not well maintained, making it very difficult for you to see the truth through that lens. And if we're not able to see the world through clear lenses and as high as definition as possible, what we're left with is an inaccurate, distorted view of what the world actually is around us. And that includes people, places, and things. Peace within ourselves should be the ultimate goal, but that's not always the case. We are human beings. Life interferes and throws us tests every single day. And inside of life comes the test, not only of life, if you choose to look at it that way, but the challenges of dealing with other people, the obstacles of dealing with things, the unknown of dealing with places. All of those things can have the good, the bad, and the ugly attached to them. But ultimately, it's our accountability and what we do, what we say, how we act, what we have to bring to the table of life every single day that really makes up the difference in all of this stuff. Purpose alone doesn't make you a good person. There are plenty of people out there who live through purpose that aren't very good people. There are plenty of people out there who live through purpose that are very, very good people. Purpose alone does not lead to success. There are very successful people out there who have little as long as belongings go and relationship status and where they actually have been in the world. And there's people out there who have done everything. That is the whole reason of looking at oneself through the lens of ourselves, detaching and being able to see ourselves for ourselves. We do that through accountability. We do that through owning up to every single aspect of our being, every molecule in us, every bit of us we are accountable for. That includes our beliefs and our behaviors. We are accountable for these things. It's not good enough to just believe in something and expect the world to say, you're good because you believe. There are plenty of people out there who are devoted to religions who aren't very good people. We see it every day. There are plenty of people out there who are doing what we would consider to be high-end, high-value things for a human being. And at their core, cold, dark, and heartless. And vice versa. We can see people do something that we would consider to be very, very horrible. And at their core, they were good. Made a bad decision at a crossroads moment in their life, and it put them in a position where forgiveness alone from other people isn't enough, that they have to forgive themselves. And that's ultimately the apex of accountability, is when you can get to a point where you're making mistakes, but you're holding yourself accountable for those mistakes. You're owning up to who you are. Be you. Just be you. But be the most genuine you possible. That is the goal, at least for me, and for what I want for those around me. The Brave Never Fall is all about you being you. Rising above who you are every single day to get a little bit more of the best parts of you. Becoming the ultimate version of who you are is essential in anyone's life. But it takes incremental steps upwards to do that. The brave never fall. We rise. That is the essential cornerstone that I built this on. And it really just comes down to, what do we want from life? And if we can identify what we want from life, is the current version of ourselves able to get us what we want, who we want, to get us where we want to be? Let's take away dreamland here. Let's take away fantasy world, and let's not think too far up into the clouds. Because up there, if you can't see past where you are, you're reaching for things that are unattainable. When things are right in front of you, are obtainable, but they require a certain set of principles that will come from you, a certain set of boundaries and values and morals, principles. All these things are what is needed now in this moment to achieve what you want to have that is further up, where we can't always see. Again, we want to see in high definition. We don't want to look too far away because things get distorted and blurry, and we really don't even know what we're looking at, let alone knowing what we are aiming for. And it may require us to change a couple of times, some things here and there, tweaking a few things, which is why the version you are right now may not be able to handle what you're asking for, what you're wishing for, what you're praying for, what you're trying to manifest in your life. You're not ready yet. You say, how do we know when we're ready? You won't have to ask. It'll already be there. There is no, am I ready? You either can do it or you cannot. You either can do it or you cannot. You can either be with this person or you cannot. You are ready to be in that relationship. You're ready to be in this church. You're ready to be in this workplace. You're ready to be with this family, with these friends, to have this amount of money in your bank account, to go to this place and that place, to own these things that you want in your life. You're not preparing yourself for it. You are it already, but you have to take the steps. And we do that through knowing where we are in the moment, not thinking too big, not thinking too small. We're thinking right where we need to be. We are right now where we need to be. Where we want to go is important. It's very important. But you can't get there if you're not taking accountability in the moment now. Being truthful. Finding the peace, the clarity enough for you to be able to actually focus on these goals, the things you're trying to manifest in life. It requires you to be you fully, to be you genuinely, to be you to a point where there's an uncompromising nature about who you are at your core, fundamental level. And no matter who attacks it, who opposes it, who criticizes it, it is there because you know what you can do with it. And it is not up to any individual on this planet to live up to the expectations of others. We do that for ourselves. No one can tell me where I can go in life. The only person who knows that is me. I know what I'm capable of doing. I know what I'm capable of not doing. And that goes for each individual. But being our truest self, being genuine to who we are, and making our life simpler, we have to ask ourselves some questions here sometimes. As human beings, we do things and make decisions that makes our lives so much harder than they have to be. It makes it harder for you to be you. It makes it harder for me to be me. When we make our lives harder, we make the lives of others around us harder. When we unnecessarily make decisions that affect ourselves in a negative way, we are inherently hurting others around us. And that's because the ones around us are going to have to experience an unhappy version of ourselves who are miserable with ourselves because we keep making these decisions that don't serve us, that makes our life harder and not easier. We have to focus. We do that through discipline and self-control, self-respect for ourselves. Again, what is the point of manifesting something if you're going to be at war with yourself when you obtain it? The point of manifesting and reaching out and getting what you want from life, creating the life that you want, is that once you get it, you find peace with it. You are satisfied with the result, and you build upon the satisfaction of that result. You don't obtain it and then just sit on it. There's a quote that says, "Those who stand still don't even know that they're chained." People who are standing still and going nowhere aren't even aware that they are chained up until it's too late. They're not ready to move and they realize they've been chained the whole time. In order to grow in life, we have to recognize what we're capable of growing into in the first place. Not everybody's a maple tree, and not everyone is a Japanese maple. We are all different. We all grow into different things, different versions of human beings. Even the people who are closest to us, that we're most aligned with, they will grow into their own selves, and we grow into our own selves. We can't base our lives off of what other people are doing. We can only take the advice and the criticisms of other people so much before we have to say, thank you for the advice. But as Al Pacino said in The Devil's Advocate, sometimes the worst vice we could have is advice. And that means we have to get out of our heads. We have to let others get out of our heads, and we have to try to stick with what we have in our hearts. Logic is great, but sometimes feelings do have to take over. We have to trust ourselves. We have to understand that trusting ourselves is what's going to get us to stay in the moment and not get too far ahead of ourselves. To not make rash decisions we're going to regret weeks afterwards, months afterwards, years afterwards. Because there's a trickle-down effect. That crossroads moment I talk about is so important to me, because I truly feel that heavy decisions, and when we meet those crossroads in our lives, if we don't look at them with both logic and feelings, mind, body, heart, and soul, if it's not a balanced decision, then you are essentially making no decision. You're just creating chaos within yourself. Because any decision we make in life, any direction we want to go, the goal is to find peace after we make that decision. If we make a decision and we find ourselves wrapped up in chaos and things aren't going the way we planned, odds are we didn't spend enough time thinking about this thing logically. We didn't spend enough time feeling ourselves with trust and intuition. We didn't spend enough time understanding what it would do to our bodies physically with stress and anxiety. We didn't realize the toll it would take on us spiritually and question our faith. It's hard to make these decisions. It's hard to move through life if we don't know who we are, which is why being you and owning up to who you are, because it's okay to make a wrong decision. That is the whole point. We're not always going to make the right decision. It's a coin flip, because there's so many things when we make decisions in life, and the directions we want to move to and where we want to grow is so influenced by people, places, and things out there in the world that we cannot control. We can want everything. We can want to get to the moon. But unless you can create a shuttle to get you there, you're not going anywhere. It's just a pipe dream. It's not real. It's fantasy. We don't want fantasy. We want things to be real. So we have to come back and ground ourselves in a place of reality. And in that reality, we are able to create things that in our minds are like dreams. It's great to dream of something and say, wake up and be like, that's never going to come true. Just to have it come true. And you say, my dreams literally came true. That is a great feeling. And it happens a lot when we're thinking rationally, when we're thinking about things that actually could happen in reality in a decent amount of time that can be seen with clarity. Not something that happens by chance or by luck. Now, I'll take luck and I'll take chance. I'll take coincidence. But I'd rather create it on my own. I'd rather know that I can get something rather than hoping I can get something. I'd rather create something than hope that something lands in my lap. I'd rather be the best version I can be, to be in a good relationship, to be in the greatest workplace, and to be with people who are like-minded. I'd rather create this version of myself on my own than hoping other people around me change themselves to fit my narrative. That's not how life works. We don't have control over other people. We don't have control over all the material things in our life. And we certainly don't have control over the places that we visit and we live in, and places that we love and we call home. I would say this again. I've said this before in podcasts, and it's a term that goes around a lot. That feeling of home starts with you. You know, they say in the movie Thor, it was Avengers Endgame. Thor loses all of Ragnarok. Excuse me, he did lose all of Ragnarok. He lost it in the movie Ragnarok. He lost Asgard. and they had to rebuild New Asgard on Earth in Endgame. And in Ragnarok, his father tells him, home is not a place, it's people. And if home is a place that is really essentially people, it's not that there's the walls and the roof around you. It's the people around you that makes home home. You can move to any address and call it home. It's the people around you. But you're one of those people. So you are essentially home to yourself. You are home. And what's great about home? Home is comforting. Home is where you can relax, where you're supposed to find peace. And if we are home with ourselves and we're finding that comfort and that warmth and that reassurance and that place where you say, I can't wait to go home, we should be feeling that same sentiment within ourselves. And believe me, that's a great feeling for somebody like myself who went so many years feeling like there's no way I could call myself home in that sense, because it just didn't feel like it within myself. But now, yes, I love to go home. I love to go within myself, in my mind, my body, my heart, my soul, because I feel safe. I feel comforted within myself, and I trust myself to be able to have good relationships with people, to be able to exceed at my job, to be able to work with people with my coaching, to be able to grow myself piece by piece, moment by moment, every single day, becoming the best version of a father I could possibly be, to be the best family member I could possibly be. And no one's perfect. And that is the kicker here. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. No one is. But who the hell says we have to be? And who the hell says we want to be? We talked about being perfect before. Being perfect leaves you no room to grow. The exciting part about life is growing. When you plant a tree, me with the quotes, there's a quote out there that says, a great person, the best thing about a person is to be able to plant a tree that they know they will never see shade under. That's what it's like to be a genuine person, to be you and explore and enjoy this life with growth. To be able to plant a tree knowing you will never enjoy the shade of that tree, but you plant it anyway, and you understand what it means to earth something like that, and it's going to grow well past you. It's going to grow into what Maximus says in Gladiator. I'm going to roll it with these quotes. What we do in life echoes into eternity. This Gladiator is one of my favorite movies. It's full of quotes, and also the wheat idea came from the movie Gladiator, which I guess fits in perfectly here now I think about it. He says, what we do in life echoes in eternity. And that is the same thing about planting a tree that you will not enjoy the shade of. Life is about being in the moment and not worrying about what your legacy is going to be. Even though we want to leave something behind, we don't want to focus on it to the point where it becomes toxic to ourselves, because we're trying to get something and trying to create something that isn't natural, that is foreign to who we actually are inside. What's great about life is that we're growing, but we don't always know what we're growing into. Does a Japanese maple know it's a Japanese maple? Does a bonsai tree know it's a bonsai tree? We don't know. Does a blade of grass know it's a blade of grass? We don't know. But we certainly have an advantage, don't we? Because we do know that we're human, and we know that we, unlike the trees and the grass, we can make choices. But more importantly, we can move. We're actually not shackled to the ground. We don't have chains attached to us that we're unaware of. We're free. You're connected to everything in this world. So why not take advantage of that? But we can't take advantage of anything if we don't have a home base. And again, home. That home is within us. We are the home base. We are the home. You can't have a good home without you being a piece of that goodness of the home. Otherwise, the home isn't good. You are the weakest link at that point. You're the weakest link in that chain of goodness within a home, because we are a piece of it. We have to be very aware of that. that who we are really does truly affect other people in ways that are more powerful than I even think any person would give themselves credit for. We have so much power, each and every one of us, to change someone's lives forever based on who we are in any given moment. And that can be realized through words, action, inaction. What we do, our behavior, have to match our beliefs in order for us to find peace in ourselves. What we believe in life, who we believe we really are. Couple that with purpose, what religion we are, our family members, our friends. Our behavior has to match that. We can't manifest something but not act accordingly to that manifest. We can't reach for the stars but be digging a hole to the ground. We're going the wrong way. If you want to go up, you're going to need something to help you go up. We can't be going up but staring at the ground. We can't be trying to grow ourselves but not looking into ourselves first to see what we even have to grow. Life is not a game. Relationships are not a game. Our purpose is not a game. Who we interact with is not a game. Our homes are not games. Life is very serious, but we shouldn't take ourselves so seriously in life. We're supposed to have fun, learn, laugh, and level up. Life is about being at peace. And what is the point of going through life with purpose and passion if you're going to be miserable every damn day? If every day you find something to be negative about, to be ungrateful about. What is the point of having any passion or any home or any family if that is something that happens and reoccurs in your life every single day? That's a version of wanting to go to the stars, but you're digging a hole right in the ground every year, one shovelful at a time. And you're doing it alone because most people don't want to dig. Most people would rather go to the stars. So what do we do about it? Self-accountability. It will always go back to that. Who you believe you are, you should be behaving as you believe you are. What you say, what you think, what you feel, what you align with spiritually, all has to be represented in how you behave. Through action, the right choice of words, the golden rule. Do unto others as you will have others do unto you. Not saying things to people that we would not want to have spoken to us in return. Not assuming about those that we don't want assumptions ricochet back towards us. Not having the vice of advice for every person, but not being able to take it in return. Not saying we want to grow while using our branches to push down other people to prevent them from growing around us. Not appreciating the fact that we are our own homes first and that we add a very vital part to the homes we're in by being the best person we can be. It's very easy to go through life taking all this stuff for granted, for taking life for granted, for taking ourselves for granted. Be you, genuinely, through self-accountability, ownership. It starts and ends with you. Who you are, how you behave, what you say, what you do, all goes into what we manifest. We cannot manifest positive things coming from a negative space. We have to find out who we are. We have to own up to our bullshit. We have to open up the doors that we've kept locked for too long and go in there and see what's in there. What boxes do we have to unpack that has BS all inside of them? What do we have buried in the backyard that we need to unearth and find those boxes that we buried in there with all this BS? We have to make things in our life a focal point, and we have to be grateful for what we have and for the opportunities that we have. We have to understand that everything we do affects other people. And if we're constantly doing things through inaction and negativity, we can't fault people for not wanting to be around us. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up. Be you.